Ever heard a song that stops you in your tracks, blending hope and heartache into something timeless? That's the magic of B.J. Thomas, the legendary voice behind classics that defined eras and touched souls worldwide. But who is the man pouring his life into those melodies? A small-town kid chasing dreams amid family turmoil, rising to stardom only to battle inner demons that threaten to shatter it all. From garage band beginnings to Oscar-winning hits, his path was anything but smooth. Addiction gripped him at the height of fame, straining relationships and testing his will. Yet a profound turnaround through love and faith redefined everything. He crossed genres like pop, country, and gospel, creating a legacy of resilience that still inspires today. What hidden struggles fueled his most iconic tracks? How did he conquer chaos to become a trailblazer in music? Join us as we peel back the layers of this music icon's extraordinary life, the triumphs, tragedies, and untold stories that made him unforgettable. If you love diving into celebrity biographies, dramatic comebacks, or the human side of hitmakers, this is the video for you. Hit play to uncover the real B.J. Thomas, and let's explore why his story resonates now more than ever. Like, comment your favorite song, and subscribe for more gripping tales. Your next favorite story awaits. Billie Joe Thomas, known to the world as B.J. Thomas, was born on August 7th, 1942, in the small, dusty town of Hugo, Oklahoma. This was a time when America was fully immersed in World War II, with families across the nation dealing with the hardships of rationing, wartime shortages, and the constant hum of radio broadcasts delivering news from distant battlefields. His parents, Vernon and Geneva Thomas, were typical of many working-class families of the era, struggling to make ends meet in a rural setting where opportunities were scarce. Vernon worked various jobs, often in construction or labor-intensive fields, but his battle with alcohol created a volatile home environment. Evenings that should have been peaceful were frequently marked by tense silences or explosive outbursts, leaving young Billie Joe and his siblings searching for stability amid the chaos. Despite Vernon's flaws, he had a deep love for country music, often playing records by legends like Hank Williams and Ernest Tubb. These sounds filtered into the household, providing a rare source of comfort and planting the early seeds of musical passion in Billie Joe's heart. The family didn't stay in Oklahoma long. Seeking better prospects, they relocated south to Texas when Billie Joe was still a toddler, eventually settling in Rosenberg, a suburb near Houston. Rosenberg, in the 1940s and 1950s, was a quintessential small-town American community, where oil fields stretched out under vast skies, and the local economy revolved around agriculture, refineries, and the emerging post-war boom. It was a place where country music echoed from porches and radios, blending with the rising tide of rock and roll that was beginning to sweep the nation. Billie Joe was the middle child of three, with an older sister named Judy and a younger brother named Jerry. Their childhood was far from idyllic. Financial struggles were constant, with the family often moving between modest homes, and Vernon's drinking added emotional turbulence. Billie Joe later reflected on these years, noting how the instability shaped his yearning for something more reliable. "My dad was a hard-working man, but alcohol had a hold on him," he once shared in an interview. "It made home life unpredictable, and I think that's why music became my escape. It was the one thing that felt steady." Church played a significant role in their lives, offering a sense of community and routine. Billie Joe sang in the choir at a local Baptist church where his voice first began to stand out. Even as a child, there was something special about his tone, warm, soulful, and capable of conveying deep emotion. This was the post-war era, a time of economic recovery and cultural shifts. Teenagers like Billy Joe were caught between the traditional country sounds of their parents and the rebellious energy of rock and roll, epitomized by artists like Elvis Presley. Houston's music scene was vibrant, with honky-tonks, dance halls, and emerging bands drawing crowds. For Billy Joe, it represented a promise of escape from the limitations of small-town life. He didn't excel in sports or academics. Instead, he found his identity through music, often listening to gospel singers as his first influences before discovering Elvis around age 12. I used to watch the adventures of Ozzie and Harriet, and Ricky Nelson was my favorite, he recalled. He was cool and relaxed, and I kind of assumed that attitude to hide my insecurity. As a teenager in the late 1950s, Billy Joe, soon adopting the nickname BJ to distinguish himself from other Billies in his circle, immersed himself in the local music scene while attending Lamar Consolidated High School in Rosenberg. He wasn't the star athlete or the academic standout. His passions lay elsewhere. At around 15, he joined a band called the Triumphs, a group of enthusiastic young musicians who practiced in garages and dreamed of making it big. The lineup included Tim Griffith on lead guitar, his brother Tom on bass, Denver Zeke Zadika on keyboards, Don Drachenberg on vocals and saxophone, and Ted Mensick on drums. They were wide-eyed kids influenced by the R&B and rock sounds of the time, and they played local gigs at dances and small events. These weren't high-profile venues. Think Knights of Columbus halls in nearby towns like East Bernard or Beasley, where the air was thick with the smell of popcorn, teenage excitement, and the occasional whiff of bootleg beer. The band engaged in Battle of the Bands competitions against groups like Roy Head and the Traits, turning these events into epic showdowns that lit up the local scene. For BJ, these early performances were everything. His voice was already distinctive, a warm, masculine timbre with subtle embellishments that set him apart. He drew inspiration from a profound moment at age 15 when he heard Jackie Wilson sing "To Be Loved." "The song just went right to my core," he later said. "It meant something to me on so many levels." This sparked his lifelong belief in singing with genuine heart and emotion. The Triumphs' big break came in 1966 with the release of their album "I'm So Lonesome I Could Cry" on Pacemaker Records. The title track, a cover of Hank Williams' classic, was reimagined with an R&B twist, selling over 1 million copies and earning gold status. It reached number 1, 8 on the pop charts, though it wasn't promoted to country radio. Many listeners initially thought BJ was a black artist due to the soulful delivery. This success was his first real taste of the music industry, but it also echoed the loneliness that had shadowed his childhood, a theme that would recur in his life and work. bestclassicbands.com. Transitioning to a solo career, BJ signed with Scepter Records in 1966, releasing his self-titled debut album. Hits came quickly. "Mama," a tender ballad about maternal love, climbed to number 1, 22 on the charts, showcasing his emotional depth and ability to connect with listeners on a personal level. By 1968, "The Eyes of a New York Woman" marked his entry into the mainstream, but it was "Hooked on a Feeling" that truly exploded. Recorded at American Sound Studio in Memphis with producer Chips Moman and the legendary Memphis Boys Band, including guitarist Reggie Young, who played an innovative sitar part inspired by the Beatles, the song sold over 1 million copies and reached number 1. 5. The infectious Ooga Chaka chant, added in a later cover by Blue Swede, captured the psychedelic vibe of the late 1960s, but BJ's delivery made it feel intimate, like a raw confession of love's addictive grip. Reggie Young's 18-bar sitar solo was a highlight, though the fade-out was spliced for the final version, bestclassicbands.com. Amid this professional rise, BJ's personal life was also taking shape. In December 1968, he married Gloria Richardson, a singer-songwriter he had met in a Houston club. Gloria was recovering from a severe car accident that had left her face scarred from 400 stitches after going through a windshield. When BJ first saw her across the table, he knew instantly she was the one. I went and found my friend and said, "Hey man, I'm taking Gloria home," he recalled. Outside, Gloria gave him an out. "If you change your mind, I'll understand." But BJ was undeterred by her scars. He fell deeply in love. They dated for a year before tying the knot in a quick Las Vegas ceremony at the Chapel of the Bells, just weeks before Hooked on a Feeling hit the top 10. It was a whirlwind romance, but Gloria became his steadfast rock, seeing through the public persona to the man underneath. "Gloria could always see me for who I was and not for who I thought I was," he said. "She helped me to be the person that I am today." Their marriage would endure for over 53 years, producing 3 daughters and facing numerous trials, but always grounded in mutual love and support. CountryThangDaily.com, CloserWeekly.com. The pinnacle of BJ's early career arrived in 1969 with Raindrops Keep Fallin' on My Head, composed by Burt Bacharach and Hal David, for the film Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. BJ wasn't the first choice. Ray Stevens had turned it down. But when he entered the studio, something magical happened. Suffering from laryngitis at the time, he was advised not to speak for 2 weeks, yet he managed 5 takes for the film's bicycle scene, aiming to evoke Paul Newman's casual charm. Bacharach loved the raw quality, and the song was re-recorded in New York with a full 100-piece orchestra, BJ's voice wrapping around the optimistic lyrics like a warm embrace. The track topped the Billboard Hot 100 for 4 weeks, starting January 3, 1970, the first #1 of the decade, won an Oscar for Best Original Song, and sold millions, earning BJ his 3rd gold record. He performed it at the Academy Awards, a surreal experience amid Hollywood royalty. "It was a beautiful thing," he said, though nerves were high. He shared a dressing room with Glenn Campbell and momentarily forgot lyrics during the elaborate 12-minute production number involving bicycles. Post-show, at the Governor's Ball, he had a humorous encounter with John Wayne, who won Best Actor that night. Wayne, eating sherbet, grumbled about photos but eventually obliged after finishing whiskey bottles in hand. BJ never met the film's stars, Robert Redford or Paul Newman, but Bacharach shared that he hadn't either. BestClassicBands.com, SmashingInterviews.com, CloserWeekly.com. Beneath the glamour of these successes, however, cracks were beginning to form. The pressures of fame exacerbated BJ's personal demons, echoing his father's struggles with alcohol. He turned to drugs and alcohol as coping mechanisms, starting as early as age 15 with his first performances. By the late 1960s, his addiction had intensified. A record producer introduced him to amphetamines during the Raindrops era, and he began taking up to 12 pills a day. "I went through years of intense alcoholism and drug addiction," he admitted, recounting multiple overdoses and near-death experiences. "I've had many years of ODs and near-death experiences. What a roadblock and heartbreak and times of failure these addictions have caused me." The habit strained his health, career, and marriage. Even during the recording of Raindrops, which should have been a high point, BJ was at his lowest ebb. "Although I achieved some good things while I was an addict and an alcoholic, it really began to affect my recording," he reflected. "Raindrops was probably the lowest point of my life. All my hit records and the money I might be making, it didn't make me happy." His temper, a lifelong issue, worsened under the influence, leading to destructive behaviors like wrecking hotel rooms, starting brawls, and even pulling a knife on a friend. There was a time I used to be in a constant state of anxiety and anger while on the road or performing. He shared .closerweekly.com, guideposts.org, closerweekly.com. The 1970s continued with a string of hits that showcased BJ's versatility across pop country and soulful ballads. Songs like Everybody's Out of Town, I Just Can't Help Believing, which reached number 1. 9 in 1970 and was later covered by Elvis Presley, whom BJ admired and performed at his memorial. No Love at All, Mighty Clouds of Joy, and Rock and Roll Lullaby kept him on the charts. Rock and Roll Lullaby, featuring Dwayne Eddy on guitar and the Blossoms on backing vocals, was a poignant reflection on childhood and loss. By 1972, BJ left Scepter Records amid the label's financial troubles. He had just completed what he considered his best album there, and signed with Paramount, releasing Songs, 1973, and Longhorns and London Bridges, 1974. In 1975, with ABC Records, he dropped Reunion, which included the mouthful hit, Hey Won't You Play, another Somebody Done, Somebody Wrong song. This country pop crossover topped the charts as the longest titled number 1 single at the time, earning his 4th gold record and speaking to the universality of heartbreak. The period from 1966 to 1977 was his golden era as a pop star. According to the Arlington Historical Society, with sales exceeding 70 million records overall, bestclassicbands.com, smashinginterviews.com. Yet, personally, BJ was unraveling. His addiction had escalated to a dangerous level. At one point, he spent $3,000 a week on cocaine and nearly overdosed en route to a Hawaii performance, taking an estimated 80 pills. I was hopelessly hooked, he said, describing himself as a walking skeleton, a wasted addict. Gloria, unable to endure the chaos, left him briefly in 1975, their marriage hanging by a thread. They had welcomed daughter Paige in 1970, but the turmoil threatened to destroy their family. Rock bottom came in late 1975 when Gloria, influenced by Christian friends, found faith and urged BJ to do the same. On January 28, 1976, less than a month after Gloria's conversion, BJ surrendered to Christianity. He gave me a peace and purpose for living I had never known before, he said. By his grace, that's the only way I can explain it. I quit drugs, cold turkey, and never went back. This miracle turnaround marked a profound shift. That year, he released Home, Where I Belong, his first gospel album on Mirror Records, produced by Chris Christian. It became the first Christian album to go platinum, revolutionizing contemporary Christian music and making BJ a trailblazer who blended his pop roots with faith-based lyrics. He followed with successes like Happy Man, 1978, and You Gave Me Love, When Nobody Gave Me a Prayer, 1979, earning multiple Grammys for Best Inspirational Performance. In 1977, he performed at Elvis Presley's memorial, a poignant honor given their parallel paths of fame and struggle. Guideposts.org, Facebook.com, Furious.com. Faith brought renewal, but it didn't erase all challenges. In 1978, the couple adopted Nora from South Korea, and their third daughter, Erin, was born in 1979. Amid these joys, old demons like BJ's temper persisted. One rarely told story illustrates this ongoing battle. In August 1978, after a triumphant crusade in Taiwan, where thousands found faith through his music, the family vacationed in the Holy Land. BJ felt transformed. Yup, BJ, I thought, you finally got yourself together. But on the first day in Tel Aviv, 8-year-old Paige's moodiness sparked tension. When Gloria suggested he intervene, BJ exploded, "Don't tell me what to do." He ranted for 10 minutes, kicking the door and bellowing like a tyrant, leaving Paige in tears and Gloria disappointed. Flooded with memories of past drunken fights and hospital visits, he questioned, "How can this be? I'm different now. I've changed." Gloria calmly suggested prayer. "Well, we could try praying. I mean, that's never failed to help us before." They bowed their heads. "Lord, I confess I've got a bad problem here with my temper. Please give me the right attitude. Give me your patience, tolerance, and love." Peace descended, and for the rest of the trip, walking paths like Gethsemane, BJ grew closer to God, realizing faith is a constant step-by-step refining process. This vulnerable anecdote reveals the human side of his spiritual journey. Not instant perfection, but gradual healing through reliance on God. Guideposts.org. The 1980s saw BJ pivot toward country music, a natural fit given his Texas roots and early influences. He topped the country charts with "Whatever Happened to Old-Fashioned Love" and "New Looks from an Old Lover" in 1983, both evoking nostalgia for simpler times, while "Two Car Garage" reached number 1. On his 39th birthday in 1981, he was inducted as the 60th member of the Grand Ole Opry, fulfilling a lifelong dream for this country boy. However, his infrequent appearances due to touring commitments led to his membership lapsing. He's now classified as a guest artist. This period also included lighter ventures, like singing the theme for the TV sitcom Growing Pains. Initially a solo track, it was re-recorded as duets with Jennifer Warnes for seasons 2 and 3, and later with Dusty Springfield for season 4, though the Warnes version returned for later seasons. The song appeared on his 1985 album Throwing Rocks at the Moon via Columbia Records. BJ diversified further, writing books like his autobiography Home Where I Belong, co-authored with Jerry B. Jenkins, acting in films such as Jory, 1973, and Jake's Corner, 2008, and lending his voice to commercials for Coca-Cola, Pepsi, and Bell Telephone. Behind these professional shifts, family remained his anchor. Gloria's unwavering love was crucial. They separated briefly a couple of times due to his intensity, but never stopped loving each other. "We did separate a time or two. I just got to be too much to live with. But we were still in love," he explained. BJ honored his family with tattoos, Gloria's name on his shoulder, and his daughters' and grandchildren's names elsewhere. He even released songs co-written with Gloria, like Miracle and The Great American Dream, and dedicated tracks like Most of All from his 1970 album to her. Becoming a grandfather to 4 brought immense joy. Watching little people grow, it has significance that really moves you. Sobriety was his greatest triumph. The most meaningful thing has been being sober. I still have to keep my mind right. CountryThingDaily.com, CloserWeekly.com. Another hidden gem from his catalog is his early 1970 recording of Always on My Mind, a quiet track on his album Most of All, that predated Willie Nelson's iconic 1982 version. BJ's rendition showcased his emotional range, regretting love taken for granted, a theme that mirrored his own marital struggles. He also cited a formative influence at 15, hearing Jackie Wilson's To Be Loved, which went right to my core and solidified his commitment to heartfelt singing. bestclassicbands.com. Controversies emerged, particularly in faith circles. After his conversion, BJ was hailed as a Christian icon, but tensions arose when he incorporated secular hits into his gospel shows. Evangelical fans expected pure faith-based content and booed his pop songs, demanding he talk about Jesus. In 1982, at an Oklahoma concert following his 5th Gospel Grammy, a woman heckled him, prompting BJ to snap, I wish Jesus would make you be quiet before storming off amid boos. Returning, he confronted the crowd. You people love to get together with your gospel singers and talk about how you lead all the pop singers to the Lord. But when you get them in front of you, you can't love them, can you? I've got Jesus, but you can't love me. The incident deeply hurt him. I think it's a really sad commentary when people who want to refer to themselves as, quote, Christians, unquote, would want to come out and hear someone just to boo them. He eventually stopped full gospel albums, declaring, I'm not a Christian entertainer. I'm an entertainer who's Christian. Going public with his addiction story also impacted his career. B.J. Thomas has no regrets about going public with his story of drug addiction, but he concedes it has posed a problem for his singing career. His Opry status sparked debates too. Critics viewed his genre hopping as disloyalty. These conflicts underscored B.J.'s complexity. A man of faith who refused to be boxed in, embracing life's contradictions like his father's flawed love amid pain. ChristianityToday.com, Furious.com. Into the 1990s and 2000s, B.J. continued evolving, releasing albums like Love to Burn, 2007, and The Living Room Sessions, 2013, an acoustic reimagining of his hits featuring guest artists. He performed at events like the 2011 Hyundai Sun Bowl halftime show, his voice remaining timeless. Billboard ranked him among the top 50 most played artists over 50 years, with 15 top 40 pop hits, 10 top 40 country singles, 5 Grammys, and 2 Dove Awards, his impact spanning genres. But family milestones were paramount, raising Paige, Nora, and Aaron, and enjoying grandfatherhood. Married life is a beautiful life, he said. He loved women, but he was only in love with one woman. Sobriety anchored him. The most meaningful thing has been being sober. NPR.org Country, ThangDaily.com. Tragedy struck in March 2021 when B.J. announced his diagnosis of stage 4 lung cancer. He passed away on May 29th, 2021, at home in Arlington, Texas, at age 78, surrounded by loved ones. His legacy endures, bridging pop, country, and gospel. He pioneered contemporary Christian music as the first platinum gospel artist. Songs like Raindrops were inducted into the Grammy Hall of Fame in 2014, persisting in films, ads, and hearts. Culturally, he demonstrated music's power to heal divides and unite generations. His addiction narrative highlighted recovery's importance amid modern crises like opioids, showing vulnerability as strength. From B.J., we learn that faith isn't flawless but persistent. Addiction's chains can break with love and grace, and life's contradictions, joy and pain, strength and frailty, are to be embraced. In a fractured world, his voice reminds us we're all seeking a place where we belong. B.J. Thomas's story is one of resilience, marked by highs of chart-topping success and lows of personal struggle, ultimately redeemed through faith and family. His music continues to inspire, a testament to the enduring power of heartfelt storytelling. And that's all for today's video. Don't forget to leave a like, comment your thoughts, and subscribe so you'll always be in the loop. Thanks for watching.